Okay, everybody, our room is filling up and we also have a full agenda today. So we are going to begin our program. And this is a special one because our purpose today is to welcome and support those of you who have been newly designated as an innovation career pathway, whether this is your first pathway designation or one of several. We are really happy to have you here with us for our webinar. So we are today a partnership between DESE and the Center for Collaborative Education. And before we dive into further introductions, I just want to remind you that we are recording this webinar. We do that so that we can post the recording on our technical assistance website and have it available for folks who are not able to be here with us today. We also have closed captioning available, and as you see on the screen, if you look for the red button in the upper left-hand corner that says live, you can click the down arrow, follow the directions, and get access to live closed captioning of this session. So to get started and let you know some of the folks who are in the room today, our Massachusetts Innovation Career Pathway team includes myself. My name is Annie Leonard, and I'm the Innovation Pathways lead with the Center for Collaborative Education. And my CCE colleague joining me today providing technical support is Phoenicia White. So please feel free to message Phoenicia in the chat if you have anything that you need support with on the technical side. And now I want to pass to my DESE colleague, Jennifer, to introduce some DESE folks.
Hey, good afternoon. Glad to see so many of you here. Thanks for taking time out to join the celebration. I have a warm cup of tea that I'm raising to say, great job, you made it. And I think I will pass it over to Latoya to introduce herself next.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Latoya Tavernier. I work with Jennifer on Innovation Career Pathways, and I'm also a liaison for Chapter 74 programs at DESE. So just welcome everybody to Innovation Pathways, and I'll pass it on.
I believe that we also have Associate Commissioner Elizabeth Schmidt here from DESE.
Excellent. Welcome, and we will be introducing some other special guests for today's webinar a little bit later in the program. This is a point where we often pause to share some information about the Center for Collaborative Education. Our attendees today, many of you have been dedicated participants in a lot of our sessions this year as you prepared to apply for designation. So you already know about CCE and that CCE is proud to partner with DESE supporting the Innovation Career Pathways initiative work across the state. But we are curious to know who is out there. So if you would, please put your name and your school or district affiliation, if it's not already in your Zoom name, and the pathways that you have newly been designated for into the chat. Thank you, everybody. So while you're doing that, I'll just briefly review our goals for today. As Jennifer said, we're here to celebrate the growth and progress of our network with these new designations. We're going to try to hone in on some important steps for new designees to prioritize for the spring and summer of 2023 as you get ready to launch. And as always, we want to foster connections across our network. So we are going to do that by concluding these welcoming remarks pretty quickly, and then moving on to hear from two special guests today. First from DESE Deputy Commissioner, Dr. Regina Robinson, and then from CCE Executive Director, Dr. Oscar Santos. Following that, we have some advice that comes from experienced members of our network, including presentations from 2 of our peer ambassadors on the next steps that should be prioritized for designees. And then we'll share some information about upcoming events and resources available to you as a member of our Innovation Career Pathways community of practice. And now I'll pass to Jennifer.
So unfortunately, Dr. Robinson is not here yet. I know that she was at the early college convening out in Fitchburg this morning, so maybe it's just trying to get here, that sort of thing. But for now, I would invite our Associate Commissioner for College, Career, and Technical Education, Elizabeth Bennett, to share a few words. She is one of the most authentic and passionate people I know, so she'll have something nice to say.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm always happy to jump in, especially to talk about innovation career pathways and career connected learning. Congratulations to all of you for your new designations. It's a really exciting time for students and for your schools. We've been traveling across the state, meeting with school leaders, and reaching out to families. And what we've heard over and over again is students want to make meaning of what they're learning. Students want to connect their learning to what their futures might look like. And I think that Innovation Career Pathways is the perfect place for this to happen. So congratulations again. I'm excited to be part of this welcome event, and I am going to hand it back to Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Liz. And maybe Regina will show up just a little bit later and she can say a few words when she's on the scene. So I'm going to pass it back over to Annie.
Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Oscar Santos, ED of the Center for Collaborative Education. Oscar.
Thank you, Annie. Congratulations to everybody. My name is Oscar Santos, and I have the distinct honor to be the Executive Director at the Center for Collaborative Education. And just to give you a little sense, the Center for Collaborative Education's main purpose is to partner with schools, districts, and communities to ensure that students succeed and that communities thrive. And I think that's really important, that students succeed and communities thrive. And for this reason, we're so excited to be a partner on this amazing and great opportunity for you to think about innovation pathways. Elizabeth, I couldn't agree with you anymore about the opportunity to have more purposeful learning opportunities for young people, as well as for educators. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is this opportunity for us to come to this work with a lot of humility as a former teacher, principal, superintendent, ran an independent school also. This whole idea of innovation and how important it is to make sure that students and families and communities are helping us guide that work. And again, we're excited to support you, to learn from you, and to continue to extend these opportunities for our communities and schools. And I'll stick around today to listen, and again, happy to congratulate you and to be a part of this amazing program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oscar. And I do see that Regina Robinson has entered the Zoom room. So maybe, Jennifer, we could go back to you so that we can hear from her.
Great. So thank you, Regina, for joining. We figured you were probably in transition from one event to another. Regina, Dr. Robinson is a very busy individual. So Regina, we would love for you to share a few words to the Innovation Career Pathways New Designee community.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be with you all today. And I'm sorry, my voice is a little lower because I am in Fitchburg at our early college convening. And this is just the week of talking about the great work of expanding pathways for students. I'm so thankful that you all are committed and dedicated to this work. As the convening is coming to an end, I heard so much gratitude in the voices of the leaders here towards the leaders in our districts, just thanking them for being committed to this work. So I first just need to begin with gratitude. The fact that in the midst of a pandemic, on the other side of a pandemic that has been so disruptive to education for our students, you have still chosen to serve them. You have still chosen to show up and support their pathways. So for that, I first just want to say thank you. My heart is filled with gratitude. Secondly, I recognize that there is a level of grit and persistence in order to do this work well. And so I thank you for your persistence. You recognize that the journeys of our students require their persistence and access to a better future. And so I don't know your personal why. My personal why is the fact that I had a great family and some great mentors that my family exposed me to help me see a picture and a future for my leadership trajectory. And I realized that I wanted to serve in a role where I was able to also help support students and serve as a mentor and a leader, and represent their voices. So I don't know your personal why, your professional why, but I thank you that you recognize the persistence that's needed for our students. And so you are choosing your personal why to drive the journey of your persistence so that they can succeed in higher education, but also in their career pathways and the choices that are centering for them and their skills necessary for them to succeed in their future. So first, it's gratitude. Secondly, it's grit. But then third, it's the gift. The gifts that we recognize our students are bringing to the table. We need adults around them who recognize their gifts, their talents, their skills, things that can be built over time, but also things, their talent and abilities that are innate and that can be cultivated. So I'm appreciative that you are recognizing the gifts and the talents and the skills of our students as they are choosing the career pathways. For that, I'm thankful to Jennifer. I'm thankful to the team at DESE that is championing this work. And I'm so excited to continue to support the efforts and the vision that has been set before you all so that as they are guiding the work, you are able to come alongside as partners in the pathways for our student success. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jennifer and just thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your time today.
Thank you, Dr. Regina. And I will turn it back over to Annie.
Thank you very much to our guest speakers. It's really an honor to have you with us today. And we're going to turn our attention now to a brief review of where we are as an initiative, thinking about the growth and current impact of our pathways. And I think it's always worth pausing to remind ourselves, as Dr. Robinson said, of the big why. What is our why? And in Innovation Career Pathways, our why is personalizing and contextualizing student learning so that we're promoting deeper engagement in the high school experience, and engagement that can lead students toward opportunities for meaningful careers in a relevant industry sector where those pathways are designated. I'm going to now pass back to Jennifer, who's going to talk to us about the current landscape of pathway designations.
Thank you, Annie. Gosh, it's hard to believe in the land before the pandemic. We started out with 0, and then 2017, 2018, we welcomed 7 districts. Now we have 78 schools across the Commonwealth with innovation career pathways that represent 183 different pathway experiences for students across the state. Really exciting that 19 of the 27 districts that applied this round were brand new to innovation career pathways. I'm not super great at math, but I think that's what, 65%. So bravo for being brave and jumping in. I'm very excited that over 820 students will be in these brand new pathways in fall of 23. That's based on the numbers that you represented in your projections and your applications, which will bring our total enrollment in innovation career pathways to over 6,500 students statewide in the next school year. So congratulations. Thought you might be interested in seeing the spread of pathways across the Commonwealth. And Annie, I see your face, you're looking like a little puzzled maybe. So I wanted to call out that Worcester actually in this mix. So these are the 5 sectors, right? Manufacturing, business and finance, information, healthcare and social assistance, and environmental life sciences. All of you who are here applied for a designation in one or more of those sectors. But there was a unique circumstance back in 2018 where we had, I think it was professional, scientific, and technical was the name of the sector at the time, but it was really sort of civil engineering pathway. So Worcester is grandfathered in, wanted to call that out, that these numbers here, the stuff in the grid plus the 6 does total 183. But manufacturing is still in the lead, healthcare and social assistance in second place, information in close third, and then environmental and life sciences and business and finance, then a dead heat.
That's great, Jennifer, and your math skills are great too. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
And as our initiative grows and the number of designated pathways grows, of course, we are in a position to really benefit from the learning that has happened over the years with schools with designated pathways. And we take advantage of that today by sharing some information which experienced pathway leaders have identified as important for consideration in the window from designation to the end of the school year, where you all are now. And that phrase, start with the why, was on this slide before it was referenced by Dr. Robinson. We do think it's super important to start with your why, building and sharing your vision for pathways and how they align with your school's mission, district's mission, or vision of the graduate. Experienced pathway leaders also talk about mapping out the coming year, even if not everything that you put in your monthly or quarterly plan comes to pass. Having that plan, the planning process itself, will help with task prioritization and sharing the workload among your team. We encourage you to think about a few key metrics that you identify that will help you assess progress toward your goals in the first year of designation. And always to be thinking about how you are cultivating champions for your pathways and growing your team so that you're identifying educators and students that are knowledgeable about pathways and can become ambassadors for your pathways. And in thinking about continuous improvement, which we'll dig deeper into later, we encourage you to think about pilots. So how can you start small and conduct safe-to-fail experiments that enable you to practice and refine program elements like job shadow days or enhanced student supports. In addition to priority areas, we've also solicited input on common challenges that schools face at this stage of designation. And some of them that they identified are challenges that have to do with student recruitment. So making sure that there is a plan and a schedule for information meetings and other kinds of outreach and events that will enable you to reach students and families with information about the pathways. Your pathways team also needs access to information, and so experienced pathway leaders advise considering how you're going to provide access to the documents, calendars, schedules, and forms that will help facilitate the partnerships that make your pathway run. In terms of student scheduling, it's always important to be in collaboration with your school counselors, especially as you think about course scheduling for students and the scheduling of MyCap activities and work-based learning activities. And lastly, we always like to put a reminder out there about funding. And that's not just about seeking sources of funding for the pathways, but also a reminder to spend available dollars so that you're not leaving money on the table. And we will be hearing more about a number of these topics a little bit later from two peer ambassadors who are joining us today. But before we do that, we wanted to share with you an example of pathway outreach materials developed in the field. And we're really fortunate that a number of current designees have shared with us videos that have been created at their schools to help engage students and families in the pathways. With our time constraints today, we had to choose just one video to share, but it's 90 awesome seconds from the Health and Social Assistance Pathway at Lawrence High School. And I'm going to share this video with you now.
Students who pay attention to detail, who are creative, who love science or health, this is a pathway for you.
If you are part of the Health and Social Assistance Pathway, there are 5 core classes that you will take. We also are getting you guys ready for your career. One way that we're doing that is by giving you opportunities to receive certifications. When you come in this class, you're not just sitting down learning, you're going to be up in our lab doing experiments and using real-world equipment.
I'm Ms. Hansen. I'm one of the teachers for this exciting pathway.
This is Ms. Bayu. Don't worry about what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Pick a pathway that you're going to enjoy for the next 3 years at Lawrence High School.
Hi, my name is Ismaili, and in this class, we learned how to use micropipettes for gel electrophoresis.
Hi, my name is Kelsey, and something I liked about this class is when we dissected a cow eye and a sheep brain, and at the end of the year, we'll dissect a heart.
Hi, my name is Derek. We use the hammer to measure our reflex time, so we're going to demonstrate it now.
If you learn and do a great job in this pathway, maybe you'll even get to save this guy.
Great. All right. Thank you to Jessica from Lawrence for sharing that with us. I've seen it a number of times, and the students, especially Kelsey holding up the model heart, make me smile every time. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay. So joining us today are 2 of this year's cohort of peer ambassadors. We have Robert Perry from Atlantis Charter School and Karen Aris from Bellingham High School. And what we asked them to do is think about advice for new designees in 3 main categories. The first one is building strong and inclusive teams. The next one is preparing teachers and other staff for the launch of pathways. And the third is planning for continuous improvement. So they are going to unmute now so that they can share some of their accumulated wisdom as pathway leaders with you. So we're going to start with establishing strong and inclusive teams. And I'm going to ask Robert to speak first on this topic.
Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? First off, congratulations on your designation. I know it's been a long and lengthy process to get to this point, but here you are. So again, congratulations to you. So I'm just going to talk to you about how some teams that you will be looking to establish over the next year when you're going through your implementation phase. I think it's very important that we break this down into 3 components, which would be curriculum, financing, or how to go about getting finances for your programming, and then connections with community or industry partners. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're starting off your team with a strong curriculum. So with us here at Atlantis, we have weekly instructional leadership team meetings, and that's just to kind of go over all instructional materials, help support teachers with making sure that we're hitting certain target areas in the content, making sure that we're helping them with action plans or curriculum development. That's, again, we have those meetings on a weekly basis. Also, we want to make sure on the equity side of things that we're including all of our students. So students that have 504s, IEPs, our ELL students, our ELL director alongside our special ed director, myself, which my title is Career Academy Director, all meet as a team again weekly just to kind of go over any materials, any curriculum materials that need to go through for the week, or anything that will go through the school community as far as curriculum that's going to be passed down. Next is our finance department. So you want to make really good friends with your finance department. Here at Atlantis, my CFO is probably my first or second main point of contact. They're going to help you with all grant proposals, any spending down of expenditures. So it's very important that you have that connection with them. A lot of times when it comes to the grant proposals, I usually do the narrative while they kind of do the breaking down and chunking of the numbers. And then they usually have, in our finance department on my end, it's usually our finance department who's kind of putting that information into Ed Grant once you are given a allotment of money for your whatever funding source that you're looking to get into. And then next, we're going to look from a community or industry standpoint. I know for us, Mass Hire Bristol, I'm in Fall River, so Mass Hire Bristol has been a great partner for us in just connecting us with industry partners in the area. So again, you just want to make sure that you're connecting with your Mass Hire partner. They're there for you to definitely connect you with all these type of resources, whether it's connecting with industry partners, whether it's any work-based learning opportunities that are coming up in your area. So it's very important that you establish a relationship with your local Mass Hire chapter. And then last but not least, just speaking from a scheduling standpoint, you want to make sure that you're having a good, strong connection with your guidance department. They help a lot with, obviously, with your scheduling. I know a lot for our upperclassmen when we're trying to get them out into work-based learning opportunities or internships, scheduling is a big factor in that. And then also with the guidance department, they have a lot of autonomy to support you with the advanced courses, whether that is dual or concurrent enrollment or your AP classes. So those are just some of the elements or people that you would want to connect with when you're establishing teams for implementation phase for your innovation pathways. And I'm going to pass it over to Karen.
Great job, Robert. Thank you. So hi, everyone. And again, congratulations. And I see lots of familiar names on the call. So excellent job. Exciting to be here. So I'm just going to reiterate a lot of what Robert said, but kind of tell you a little bit what we do here at Bellingham. This was our first year of designation as well. So you know, we were learning along the way this year, so definitely have some tips in growing pains from our first year as well about how to get coordinated. So the first thing I would say is definitely a regular meeting with your department heads, especially with your IP designation specific department head. Ours typically fall under science, so myself and the science department coordinator and the department, the guidance department coordinator kind of work hand in hand when we are talking about how things are going to flow and what classes are offered, etc. But I meet monthly with all of the weekly, with all the department heads. We have a weekly meeting to talk about other things like career connections and career speakers, which you're going to want to obviously think about scheduling ahead of time and how that's going to flow with the schedule, and especially that flows into the next bullet with the instructors of the IP courses. And so we this year had a series of speakers in our innovation pathway classes, and we have healthcare and manufacturing. So we coordinated during our activity block or our WIN block, which was like a half an hour period. So that worked well to focus on what speakers would fit into the curriculum at what point in time. And I cannot emphasize enough what Robert said as well about your grant manager, your finance department. We really want to establish a relationship with that person or that team, because as Robert said, I wrote the grant for our implementation grant, and then I'm working with the grant manager at central office I have a meeting set up with her Friday about going over the budget and where we are and how our spending's going, because we never want to leave money on that table, Jennifer, never. I'm going to spend every dime. So yeah, that's really important. And again, I would say it's a weekly check-in with our grant team. And then our innovation pathway team is really those folks who kind of came together and wrote the grant last year. Some folks have kind of taken a back seat. I guess now that I'm here, I'm kind of taking the lead, but that is our assistant principal of academics, our guidance director, our science department coordinator, one of our guidance counselors who helps with the career fair. As a matter of fact, we're having our career fair tomorrow, and we meet on a monthly basis. So that's a little bit about our team, who we have here in Bellingham.
Karen, that's great. Thank you. And as I move on to the next slide, I want to encourage folks, if questions are coming to mind and you want to put them in the chat, then we will, like Jennifer just put a question in the chat to Karen. Did you say you meet with your data coordinator? So Karen, if you want to jump back in and answer that one now, but just know, everybody in the audience, that we will look back at the chat for your questions after we hear a little bit more from Karen and Robert. Karen, do you meet with your data coordinator?
I mean, she's literally right down the hall. So I am lucky enough that she's in my building, so I don't have to, have a meeting with her. Some people, they're at central office or in a different building, so I can just run down and ask questions when I need to, Jen. So that's actually a very good point, because you do want to make sure. We did have some questions about coding the classes correctly, so you just want to make sure that that's you get that covered as well.
So much, Karen, for that plug.
Great. Okay. So we're going to turn now to hearing from Karen and Robert about preparing teachers and other staff to support pathways. And this can include things like implementing enhanced student supports in your pathways, and really helping teachers access the training they might need for new courses and make the shift in mindset towards a more student-centered and work-based learning focused approach. So Karen, can we start with you this time, and then you can pass to Robert when you're ready.
Sure, thank you. So one of the things that we did a lot of this year was supporting our teacher professional development, sending them to conferences and training, and our pathways use Project Lead the Way curriculum, which I'm sure a lot of yours do as well. So that's one of the things that is just an automatic, but we do have some new teachers going to training in June, so that's coming up. One of the other things too is that we do have 8th grade here in our building, so some of you might have that. For example, I think Millbury's on the call, and I think they do as well. So our 8th grade this year, we had two exploratory classes that help lead into our pathways. So we are sending those teachers to professional development to help establish that class and to help learn more about the pathways in general. I talked a little bit about the career speaker series that we had in our innovation pathways as well. So we helped do that. Plus, the teachers are always going to learn, right, from the experts in the field who come to talk to your kids. One thing that was really cool in the manufacturing speaker that we had, the teacher chimed in and was like, "Thank you so much for saying that, because we just taught that the other day, and hello, you're using it in your spotlighting in your talk to our class." So he felt really validated in that, so that was great. And then one thing that we really want to be sure that we're highlighting is it's all about equity, right? And making sure that we're accessing all the students. So how can we do that? And so one thing that we're doing is starting some like after school help this year for the students in the pathways and getting teachers involved in those as well. So that's a little bit about what we're doing here at our school. Okay, Robert, take it away.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off of that, I think a key element for our preparing teachers or supporting teachers is our curriculum development. So we go through at the beginning of the year, prior to school starting, we have a whole staff PD, but I have a specific IP instructor PD where we go over how to scaffold, how to develop a scope and sequence, how to develop essential questions, things of that nature. It's with IP, it's a little bit more comprehensive. I mean, it's a little bit more involved than your comprehensive or your core curriculum classes. So there is a learning curve when it comes to certain elements of, just for example, we have our designation, we have several designations, but just using manufacturing as one of the examples, we have a ton of equipment that we have acquired over the past year or so through grant funding. So training our teachers how to use this specialized equipment, and then getting them the proper PD to not only be able to use the equipment on their own, but to properly articulate to the students, not only safety precautions, but how for students to accurately use the equipment. Also, another thing that we kind of touch on, speaking from the equity standpoint, is restorative practice training. That's something that's come to the forefront of our school community as a whole over the past year or so. Just wanting to take a deeper dive into building these relationships with our students, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. I think that makes for a more conducive learning environment for our students, especially when it comes to the work-based learning elements of things that they may be doing outside of the classroom. Yeah, and that's about it as far as supporting for our teachers. The big elements are the curriculum development, and then also getting our professional development around specialized equipment and or new learning source or learning or resources that we'll be using in our IP courses.
That's great. Thank you, Karen and Robert. And I love hearing both of you talk about how the Innovation Career Pathways Initiative work is aligned with and supporting other kinds of improvement work going on in your school, and also hearing how learning experiences for students are also going to be learning and growing opportunities for the teachers involved in your pathways. So the third area that we want to hear about is planning for continuous improvement. When you have a new pathway designated, it's certainly easy to be very focused on your to-do list, but we want to encourage you also to think about structures for reflection and planning and opportunities for continuous improvement. So Robert, would you like to start us out?
Yeah, for sure. I think I want to just piggyback to a previous slide where it said plan to fail. I think that's very important. You're not going to get everything that you want to get done or accomplished in 1 year. So when I initially took on this position, I took on this position in 2020. That year we were completely remote as a school community. So I did my whole first year not in a school building. So kind of the plans that I had for implementation kind of went, I wouldn't say by the wayside, because we had obviously elements where we were able to connect with post-secondary partners and community industry partners, but obviously not being able to do certain work-based learning opportunities, not being able to do internships. Again, just plan to fail and it's okay. Just know that it's going to be at least a 2 to 3 year process to get your program to where you want it to be. But a continuous improvement that I'm looking at from our perspective of our programs is continuing to build the post-secondary connections, and that's across a multitude of elements, whether it's advanced placement courses, doula concurrent enrollment. We do get support from UMass Dartmouth on curriculum input. So that is one element that we have had a strong connection, but we just want to continue to broaden our horizons when it comes to connecting with our post-secondaries. And And the next is having a better understanding of the labor markets, or our students having a better understanding of the labor markets. While we have certain pathways that are very broad in nature, I think having a better understanding of the professions within those pathways, or the high demand positions that are within those pathways that are actually flourishing at the moment is very important. And then to piggyback off of that, using the MyCap framework to kind of get from a bottom level place to a place where students feel comfortable being in the industry or having the ability to navigate through the industry. And then last but not least, I would say on my end, we are a K-12 institution. But again, being in Fall River, it's a very work community, if that makes sense. So not many families or families in the community look at post-secondary as an option. So I think just using our better marketing innovation pathways within the community to one, retain our 8th grade students coming into high school, and then also to market our school throughout Fall River to gain more enrollment for our high school students based on our performances of our innovation pathways programs.
That's great. Thanks, Robert. And the way you're framing the pathway as a pathway potentially to work or post-secondary training or community college or a 4-year degree, all of those being
Yeah,
possible.
and I want all of our students and our families to understand that there's not just one specific path that they have to take, but they will, through this program, they'll have avenues to any of those 4.
Awesome. Okay, Karen, your turn.
Okay, so for continuous improvement, I mean, I would just say it's not on a bullet here, and it came to mind is just pick off some small things and do them well. Don't try to do them well. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because then you're just going to be scattered and trying to do a whole bunch of different things instead of focusing on like 3 things for the year, and then the next year you can do 1 more, you know. And so I think that's where we're at this year, like trying to figure out the things for next year, which is adding a dual enrollment class for our manufacturing pathway, because we noted that we needed more avenues in that area. So that's one area that we're trying to improve in. And as Jennifer and Annie said before, it's going to be a small pilot, and it'll be for kids who are seniors in that pathway, and we're going to try it out next year. So that will be one thing that we're going to try to improve. The next thing is always marketing, right? Just don't assume that kids know about your pathways, because they probably don't, right? They probably know what's going on after school or on Instagram or TikTok, but they're not going to know about your pathway necessarily. Maybe you should put your pathway on TikTok. I gotta think about that. So, you know, always continuing to beat that drum, right? The school community has to know about it. Your community at large, your families, you're always talking about it. The artwork, the projects are in the hallway. And for us, that's another thing that we just didn't have a lot of visual material. So we're going to get some more space to put that up, because our manufacturing room is down the hall and you can't see it. So the kids sometimes don't even know that it's here. So we want to bring that material out and display it more. Think about adding new pathways if you can. Some of them are very cross-curricular, you know, so that's another way to get more students involved and to kind of grow things at your school. And then again, when you're thinking about the kids, we just had course selection. We did this was our year for our big push for marketing. We did presentations for all classes before course selection to let them know about the pathways. And then, I did notice that some kids are getting scared off by the AP classes that might be noted in the pathways. So trying to really kind of hone in on how you can create accessibility for all students. And like we were saying before, creating like another dual enrollment class or having tutoring sessions or things like that. So.
I will say this, just to kind of piggyback off the marketing aspect, having a strong program markets itself. Students will talk about it, families will talk about it. So just having a strong program in itself, that's probably your most successful marketing tool. But yeah, that's really, I just wanted to kind of implement that.
Yeah, Robert,
Exactly.
I was thinking the same thing, that really what I'm hearing both of you say is that building a strong program and really centering the voices of your students and families in your program design decisions is also a marketing strategy, right? That's gonna build a stronger program, which is gonna draw more students into your pathways. So at this point, I want to invite Jennifer to come back in and pick up the mic and add some comments to new
Yeah,
data.
well, I don't. Hopefully, you guys aren't looking at me as I'm in my little square here, just nodding vigorously, smiling like a Cheshire cat. Just loved hearing from Robert and Karen on their lessons learned, and thinking back on when we first started this with Innovation Career Path. It was actually Innovation Pathways at the time. Now it's Innovation Career Pathways. Note how career has found its way into the name and in our rebranding. But wow, what a long way we have come. And that's really a tribute to this community and the partnership with the Center for Collaborative Education. I'm so grateful for all of this. And I feel like the knowledge base just keeps getting stronger and stronger. So super grateful to Robert and to Karen, who are 2 of our 5 peer ambassadors this year. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And LaToya, I don't know if you'd like to add anything.
Sorry, I took the wrong time to take a snack break.
I always do that to you. I'm so sorry.
But I pretty much enjoyed everything that they provided. I mean, this is definitely your opportunity as new designees to pick up some real gems to help you with your planning for implementing these programs, because they are important. But as Karen said, Karen and Robert said, it's important for them to be well thought out, have a strong team, and to really, concentrate on having strong programs, because that definitely does help with attracting other students to want to, be in the program and sustain it. So.
Can I just mention one thing?
Yes.
Sure. First of all, I just want to say thank you to both of you for sharing your amazing experience. And I think this was highlighted, but just one thing that I think is really, really powerful is that you're already doing a lot of amazing things. Build on the assets that you already have. We understand that this is Innovation Pathways, but we know that you're already doing a lot of innovative things. So I think, Robert, you may have mentioned this, but putting it into your strategy and making sure that this is part of a deliberate process to support all of the program that's taken place, so that people don't view it as a new initiative. As a former school leader, believe me, I understand. People will say, oh, wow, another new initiative or something new. Really be strategic about this and put it into the work that you're already doing so that people begin to understand it. I think that helps bring on that sense of understanding that this is work that you're already doing. And I know that every school is doing amazing work. So again, thank you so much to both of you for highlighting those important topics.
All right, we are approaching the end of our time. And so we want to take a moment now to highlight some of the specific resources and upcoming events in the community of practice. You may have seen that we have 2 in-person events on our calendar. Our website has a new domain name, a new URL, and you'll see that Phoenicia has put that in the chat. If you would like to click through and get more details about the site visit, that is being hosted by Kim Gustenhoven at Woburn Memorial High School in their biotech pathway. We are currently waitlisting for that event, which has limited capacity. We have also recently announced an event that focuses on integrating MyCap with your innovation career pathway work. There's been a great response to that event, and it's nearing capacity, but still possible to register for that on May 18 in Marlborough. And then we will, as Jennifer mentioned, host a workshop online on May 31st for prospective applicants who are just beginning the process. Coming soon also will be an email where we ask for your feedback on the whole year. And for those of you who participated in multiple events, perhaps PLCs and office hours, as well as webinars and workshops, we really, really want your feedback so that we can continue to customize the technical assistance and professional learning that we provide based on your needs, which is what we will be doing throughout next year. And of course, as designees, we will welcome you to bring your questions and to bring your expertise to our workshops and our professional learning communities, online events and in-person events in the future. In addition to those events, we know that sometimes you talk with somebody in a breakout room or hear somebody speaking in a webinar like this one and want to reach out to them. There is a network contact list on our website, and Phoenicia has put that link in the chat. We encourage you to use it. And there's also a page on our website for the peer ambassadors. So if something that you heard today from Karen or Robert makes you want to follow up with a question to them or to reach out to another one of our peer ambassadors, you can check out their bios and find their contact information on our website as well. You're probably already familiar with our toolkit, but we all are always working on updating and expanding it. And this slide just overviews some of the resources that you will find in that toolkit. And then for the last few minutes of our workshop, we really would like to ask you to click on the link, which is in the chat, to our SurveyMonkey feedback survey and provide us your thoughts on today's workshop. As you may know, we are really eager to get your feedback, and we have an incentive system which kicks in when you complete the anonymous survey. You are then asked to enter your email in a form, and that enters you into a raffle, which we will conduct at the end of the year for Amazon gift cards. So anytime you attend an event and complete a survey, you are entered again in the raffle. And we hope that you will take a moment now to provide some feedback on today's event. Lots of people to thank today, everybody who has been in attendance, as well as our guest speakers and guest presenters. We appreciate everyone coming together in service of advancing the work that we do in Innovation Career Pathways. Thank you all very much for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at another Innovation Career Pathways event again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.